What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. So it's been a long time since I made the video about the 13 keys to the White House by Allan Lichtman, but right now there is important updates, and they really take into account both the major pandemic and the social unrest with the BLM movement. And of course there are 13 keys. When 6 of them are against the incumbent president's administration, that party will lose. And right now it is not looking very good for the Republicans, because exactly 6 keys are going against Trump. The first one is, of course, in the midterm elections, the Republicans lost a lot of House seats. They lost the House in total. Of course, they won Senate seat, but that does not reflect the popular vote of the nation, so that's not really a big deal. Of course, the third party and incumbent party challenger, were always not going to be very big. We don't know how serious Kanye might be, but William Weld, Mark Sanford, and Joe Walsh never had real challenges to Trump. And of course, he is standing for re-election. But there was a very big recession in 2020, and it is not expected that things will just go back to normal by itself. So definitely one of the economic keys is against Trump. Social unrest is also against Trump. Protest following the death of George Floyd. Impeachment, so that accounts for a major scandal. So that's 4. The 5th one is, of course, that there has not been a major foreign military success. Of course, there was no final deal with North Korea. There was a few assassinations, but not something that categorized as a major foreign military success. And 6, the tipping point, Donald Trump is not a national hero. That's probably not a tipping point. It's about the incumbent charisma. The tipping points, of course, was those that changed, which are, of course, the social unrest and, the impeachment changed earlier this year, and, of course, the economy. So right now that's 6. So it could tell you that if the election was held now, that Joe Biden would win, but he would probably win quite narrowly. That's all I could take out from that. And there are a few other things too. I don't know if all of the 6 keys are as strong and are unchangeable. One thing is that they might change. Another thing is that if you look at some of them, social unrest and the scandal key, both are quite partisan. Of course, the impeachment was a completely partisan activity, but also the social unrest is mostly committed by people on the far left, and well, not all of the people in the BLM movements are far left. The Antifa people are far left, and many of the protesters that want to tear down statues and change many things in the country are not reflecting of the population. So there is social unrest, but it's mostly coming not from the president's side. It is coming mostly from the people who would anyway be against the president. And it is questionable, because when things like this have happened before, like in 1920 and in 1968, there was incumbent Democrats, and then the country elected Republicans. Warren Harding and Richard Nixon. Now there already is a Republican, so it is really hard to see how the country would react. But of course, one way to see it is these 6 keys. Now, if anything here is to change, it's really hard to tell, but you could always have your doubts. For example, I have a little bit doubt about the scandal key, because the original scandal, what was meant to be the scandal, what they had a major investigation for in 2 years or something, was conspiracy with Russia to win the 2016 election. And when the impeachment happened, it was about something else much, I don't think you can say much smaller, but completely different, that didn't really have the public's attention. And the people who wanted the impeachment to happen was mostly the same people who hated Trump to begin with. So it is really hard to say how that could have changed much of people's minds. But of course, this is a prediction by Professor Lichtman, who of course belongs to at American University in Washington. It's not him, by the way. That's Christopher Morrill. And yeah, this is definitely bad news for Trump. Now, of course, if you look at the other model, the primary model, which is of course by Helmut Norput, I've also made videos about him. It predicts, of course, a quite solid Trump win, which is mostly based on the primary race, where Trump did very well and Biden did very poorly until the Democrats started voting in the South. Well, of course, Biden did very good. So it is a complicated matter. Trump might not really have as much opposition that is willing to go against him in his own party, but there is certainly opposition from what we've seen. But everyone should be able to make their own mind based on this and how they wish to see it. If nothing changes, I guess this is what Allan Lichtman will in the end predict. He will probably predict then that Biden wins, which would be different from what Norput predicts. And that is why I actually have some doubts if this is going to be the final outcome. If those people disagree, then that it will make me really unsure about who is going to win the election. Because in the beginning of the year, I think most people expected Trump to win quite easily, but right now it is really in the air, and a lot of people are, of course, favoring Biden. Anyway, that's it from me today. Please like this video, it really helps me and motivates me, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.